Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Erin Noon, and you're watching 13 News Now.
Welcome to 13 News Now.
We'll be coming to you live every weeknight at 9 p.m. right here at the digital desk at the WOWK TV studios in Charleston, West Virginia. We're going to break down the day's headlines. The Kanawha County Education Board has come to a decision on a new name for the former Stonewall Jackson Middle School. The new name for the middle school is West Side Middle School. The name passed on a 3-2 vote, and our own 13 News reporter Cassidy Wood was actually at the Board of Education meeting. Cassidy, tell us what it was like being there today.
Yeah, so at first, a lot of speakers came in, from outside of the community. A lot of concerned citizens came in to voice what they wanted the name change to be. Now, keep in mind, this has been a pretty contested issue for the last month. Now, the board voted on July 6th to remove the Stonewall name, and they created an online survey after that where people could actually go online and give 2 name suggestions for the new names of the schools. So that actually closed on Monday at 9 a.m. And then today, of course, the board met to kind of discuss. And we really thought it was going to be more discussion, but they decided that, you know what, there's already so much uncertainty that's going on in the world right now, especially, I mean, these kids going to the school in the fall don't even know how the fall's going to play out because of the pandemic and everything. So they really wanted to change the name and do it as soon as possible so the kids could get in, get accustomed to the name and get in there and have it be natural. So there was actually some board members who proposed the idea of having Katherine Johnson Westside Middle School, and that was obviously lost at a 2-3 vote. And then somebody else, I believe it was Tracy White, who petitioned or who motioned to name it Westside Middle School, and they went ahead and voted 3-2 to do that. So it will be named Westside Middle School.
Westside, and you mentioned that the one student who goes there,
right,
he was really excited that it was named Westside Middle School. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so 12-year-old Camden Harris, you guys will meet him tonight at 11 o'clock. He's super adorable. So I've actually been covering this story since the beginning, and I met him back during when there was a march to the Board of Education building about this. And he is so brave. I mean, he stood up there in front of a ton of people. There was a lot of people that showed up to this march, and he voiced his concerns. He's going into 8th grade this fall, and he said, it's my school. I want to have a voice. I want to be a person to speak out and be there for my peers and my community. And so he has been speaking out at every event about this since that march, and he was there tonight again saying that he wanted it to be Westside Middle School. Now, there was some heated arguments that happened tonight because there were community members who wanted it to be named Katherine Johnson Middle School because they said that the West Side kind of can sometimes have a negative connotation. But with Camden, he was like, no, he has West Side pride, West Side best side. So he really wanted it to be the West Side Middle School. And I will say, after the meeting, I was outside and I was talking to his mother and him, and somebody FaceTimed him, and it was one of his buddies, and it was actually a couple of them on the other line, and he said, guys, we did it, it's Westside Middle School, and they were just freaking out, and his mom said, this is what matters, we're doing it for the kids. So that was kind of heartwarming to see that. Obviously, yeah. A big deal, a big name change, so it'll be interesting to see how this fall of the school pans out in general, but yeah.
Right. Well, Cassidy, thank you for joining us on 13 News Now.
Yeah,
catch her full story tonight on 13 News at 11. It's exciting, yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Cass. All right, coming into our newsroom, the West Virginia House of Delegates learned today that an employee has tested positive for COVID-19. The employee who tested positive was present during Monday's Health and Human Resources Committee meeting in the House chamber. Even though employees were required to social distance and wear face masks, officials are still asking anyone present at that meeting to quarantine, be tested, and monitor for symptoms. House leadership has arranged for testing to be available to staff and others who may have had exposure to the clerk's office. That testing will take place Friday morning at the Capitol complex. 4 people suffered burns when a propane tank exploded during a cookout at the Greenbrier Mineral Saunders prep plant in Logan County this afternoon. 1 was airlifted to Cabell Huntington Hospital, while the other 3 were taken to Logan Regional Medical Center for treatment. 2 were treated and released. Since the accident happened at the mining site, the U.S. Mine Safety and Health Administration is investigating. An Ohio couple charged with the death of their 5-year-old granddaughter was in court this morning. Richard and Sonia Green both face aggravated murder charges. This was their second court appearance on the charges we reported last week. The couple is charged with aggravated murder, murder in the first degree, and 3 counts of felony assault in Annabelle's death. This happened about a week ago when officers were called to a hospital emergency room. The little girl was flown to a children's hospital in Columbus, where she later died. Today, the couple waived their right to a preliminary hearing, where the prosecution normally lays out the basic evidence for the charges. Instead, their cases will now be sent to a grand jury. There is no date for that trial yet, and in the meantime, their bond is set at $500,000 each for the aggravated murder charges. It's another great weekend to dine out in the capital city. The city of Charleston is getting ready to shut down 2 busy streets again this weekend to accommodate outdoor dining. After a successful trial run last weekend, the city says local eateries saw receipts comparable to New Year's Eve. Capitol and Hale Streets will be closed starting Friday at 7 a.m. from the Kanawha Boulevard to Lee Street until Monday at 7 a.m. But how will the weather hold up for the outdoor dining? Let's check in with Storm Tracker 13 meteorologist Joe Fitzwater, who is in our weather lab. Joe, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Aaron. We have seen some pretty nice conditions overall. Definitely a hot one out there, that's for sure. And it looks like this is going to be continuing here for the next several days. Let's take a look at your weather eye out in Charleston. Things looking pretty nice out there here this evening. We're taking a look to the west here. So you see the Fort Hill Bridge out in the distance. And you can see it's a beautiful sunset. We've had it take place here just over the last 20 minutes or so. A few high cirrus clouds as well as a few puffy fair weather cumulus clouds have allowed for that beautiful sunset here this evening. And we're seeing that in other places as well. It was looking good on Hurricane here just a few minutes ago, and we'll take a little tour across parts of the region. There we go. Barbersville looking good as well. Back to the west toward Ashland, we're looking good too, and we go back to the east just a little bit toward the River City of Huntington, and we're looking fine as well. Those temperatures are toasty. It's 9 o'clock and it's still 87 degrees in Charleston. It's 86 in Gallipolis. It's 84 in Parkersburg. So you know that with temperatures this hot, this late into the evening, it's going to be a warm and humid night on the way. In fact, I think many of us are going to stay in the 70s overnight for lows. So definitely a good AC night for sure. We take a look at your Viper real-time radar. And there's some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms. We saw, we'll call them heat busters, if you will, because if you got lucky enough to get under one of these, you got a little bit of rain. Now, it was humid after the storms rolled through, but aside from that, did at least in some of that heat here across parts of Mason and Jackson County a little earlier this evening, making its way up toward parts of Wirt and Roane County. And we look back to the west, and we had a little complex of showers and thunderstorms that popped up across parts of central Kentucky that have since fallen apart basically along I-64 there in parts of Carter County and Boyd County before dissipating along the Ohio River. And we've seen those diurnal showers and thunderstorms across the West Virginia mountains at this hour. We lose the sun's energy, and so we lose those thunderstorms. And again, things nice and quiet here across the region at this hour with just a couple of light showers across Scioto County. Now, as we time things out on Predictor, let's take a look and see what you can expect here in your neighborhood over the next 24 hours. And we have a pesky cold front back to our west that could kick off a few showers during the overnight hours. There's enough mugginess out there. There's enough heat out there to pop a few showers and thunderstorms. So don't be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder during the overnight hours, but we're not expecting any major issues or high water concerns or any of the like. And we're waking up Friday morning with a few of those showers around. Notice that cold front right over the region. So up to the north of that front, we should be in good shape, pretty dry. But farther to the south, well, we could see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. So areas like Beckley over toward Pikeville, we could see a brief shower or thunderstorm. Saturday looking drier with just an isolated chance for a storm. But notice that area of high pressure to our east. That means a southwesterly flow, and that means it's going to stay hot here across the region. Your 7-day forecast looks like this. Get ready, folks. If you like the heat, well, you're going to like the forecast because that's what we're looking at here over the next 7 days. 94 on Saturday and Sunday both, and yes, it even gets hotter from there. We're going to look at a few scattered showers and thunderstorms on Monday with highs in the mid-90s. That should say 74 for the overnight low, not 84, but nonetheless, you get the idea. We've got 70s during the overnight, Monday night into Tuesday, and then finally, maybe, just maybe next week, Aaron, we could see those temperatures dropping back down toward around 90 degrees. But until then, we've got to deal with the heat. It's going to be here to stay here for quite some time. In fact, we could make it almost 2 weeks with 90-degree weather across parts of the region.
Joe, not really looking forward to that heat. I thought it might calm down, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Well, thank you, Joe. We're going to wrap up 13 News now with the top trending stories on our website at this hour. New name to replace Stonewall Jackson Middle School has been decided. COVID-19 cases approach 500 in Kanawha County, and a wrestling promoter gets creative so the show can go on. And of course, you can find those stories and much more on our website and mobile app. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to tune into 13 News at 11 with Jennifer, Rob, and Spencer. We'll see you here again tomorrow at 9 p.m. Have a great night.